Alright, it is Wednesday 9:17 a.m. and this is the main watch list. PBY again is going to be a morning panic bounce play potential. Ideally we get one that drops more than 8% and it has some kind of volume. Maybe I should have traded yesterday's, but that's the idea with there. Again, I have the most experience with morning panic bounce plays. I really don't want to trade this one. I'm going to remove GGI. It's a bit too choppy. I don't like how it plays around with the wicks. It still has a lot of resistance back here. I'm just going to leave that one alone. MGUY, ideally maybe it can continue an uptrend and that would be pretty nice. Excuse me, maybe it has like a tiny spike, maybe a small gap up, and then it, I don't know, holds green or something. I honestly don't know. Same idea with WCIG. Any kind of continuation on the news that came out. FRTN is the same thing, although this one I don't like as much as the other two because it doesn't look horrible, but I don't know. It doesn't seem as nice as the other ones. Maybe I understand this doesn't really trade, with much volume, but I don't like how large this wick is here in comparison to the other ones. It just doesn't look that nice. And LKNCY is the last one. These are all on the main watch list. Of course, if something is on the other watch list and it's having a morning panic bounce play, I'll consider it if it looks very clean. LKNCY is trying to do some kind of a breakout. Ideally we have news or some kind of volume, but maybe it can continue and do an uptrend without that. It's just less likely to work successfully. That's all I have for right now. I'm going to focus on morning panic bounce plays, and I will look at any new OTCs that have news and see if any of those can provide any price action today. Alright, it is 10 o'clock a.m. and MGUY, I haven't traded anything, but this one I didn't like the way this one dropped. This isn't really what I call a morning panic bounce play. I did consider it when it was maybe trying to hold this level, but it was all wicky and ugly, so maybe it can do a lower low and it can turn around, but I'm not interested in it because it was only up one day. And if this day, it did have like a panic and then it's up and then it holds a double bottom, I would have been interested in that, especially in this stock because it has a lot of range. To move from 28 maybe to 32, that's already, more than 10%, so that's something I was considering. WCIG did break this level, but I'm not going to try to go for a reversal. It was only up one day. DPLS, I was watching this. A bit sketchy. This one's a bit toxic, but it's just nice to look at, a morning panic bounce play, but this isn't really an ideal one because it just has consistent red candles. I was watching it around here. It did turn around eventually. I really was interested in it when it was holding this 970 level, and then when it broke it here, it kind of killed my interest, and then it kind of bounced back and forth, and I thought, it's not really that hard to take a buy and risk the day low, which is 962, and maybe you're in a 970, but I don't really want to risk that much on something that could just continue fading the rest of the day. It's at a significant point because it did break out this 1 penny level, and yeah, I would have sold by now here had I have somehow been in this, which could have been possible. Maybe I'm in at 974. I would be selling already because we did have a red candle, and I also didn't like how when it even was back here in a 970 level as a risk level, VWAP is just right there. It's really, really close, so it still worked out, which is nice. I need to not try to push myself and get angry on every setup that works that I didn't trade, especially if VWAP is that close. Because a lot of these can top out at VWAP. This thing could have just kept downtrending. Somebody could have tried risking, this level right here, right at 10.25, and then it breaks that. And then, okay, well, let's try now right here, and then risk here, and then breaks that. And then this one, it breaks that. So I can't get too upset, but yeah, this would have been kind of cool. I would have sold at maybe 10.13. and I would have been in at 974, risking 963, which isn't really that ideal, but it could be a lot worse. So that was a move there. KYNC, I did watch this because it somewhat looked clean for a morning panic bounce play. It did turn around. I could have been in at 151, but again, we're having this thing where a lot of these just don't look that nice because it's very close to VWAP. You know, they're not really clean. LKNCY is trying to do a breakout. Volume isn't there. We don't have any news, at least nothing on E-Trade. I might consider it if it does a dip towards VWAP, although this one isn't really too ideal. FFZY is a new one. It's just going to be a watch for right now. It is trying to do an uptrend. And as for the ones that were up because of breaking news, this one I was not a part of because the news were alerted after the market opened. So I was looking at other stuff. This one is up on news. It's not looking too nice. It is a former, pump and dump or whatever you want to call it back here. So nothing too ideal. This one's another one, but the volume is horrible and it only gets worse. This one's another one. And this one's another one, just doesn't look very nice. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't see any really clean setups. I'll probably be looking at LKNCY, but that's really all I have for right now. Alright, it is 3:42 and I believe I'm going to just call it off before the market closes. I think the biggest thing that I regret, but it was just so sketchy, LKNCY, was that breakout. And the last time I was interested in it was around this 1581 level. It did have these sketchy wicks. I don't know if this one actually went as low as here. Maybe it was just a bad tick or something, or somebody with a horrible market order. Anyway, it did get as high as 1648, but the problem is that it just doesn't have that volume. Like, if it had more volume, if it had news, if it had something people could talk about overnight as it's right at its highs, just slightly above it, this thing could be super nice. But I'm not really too experienced with this. I would like to, in theory, just trade maybe a puny just a 10 share position and just hold it overnight, just to get some experience holding the setup overnight, especially this one because it is, at its highs right here. But I don't know, I might not trade this thing. This thing is known to just have these gap ups and gap downs, so that might also be sketchy as well. But I think it would be good experience just to have a small position, but maybe it's just so small I should probably not even bother and just think of the big picture. MGUY faded off, nothing here, nothing really nice. I would not have traded that. WCIG also faded away. DPLS, I could have traded this in theory, but I've been burned trying to nail the bottom of these things, and maybe I should have done the 3 ticker rule, 1, 2, 3. So you risk the bottom here and you get in this candle, but getting in at 1007 and risking 995, I guess it's not really that bad. It did have, what was that? Was that 2 red candles in a row? Yeah, probably. So maybe I wouldn't have made much there, but I did see the turnaround here. The problem is just that I've been burned so many times trying to, trade a setup like this that I didn't get in this time. But maybe I should just, not take it so personally and try anyway. FFZY is another one that's up, but I don't like this one. I don't like how big and ugly the wick is. The other ones that were nice the other day, they're just like not really looking that nice anymore. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it off. In theory I could be in, but there is a lot of people want to ask. I'll probably just let it be. If I had to guess, it might even have a gap down tomorrow. Who knows? I mean, if they have some kind of news or some kind of volume pickup, it could do a lot of things, but I think it's just probably best to leave it alone. I'm going to call it off here. I didn't have any trades in theory. I should have done the breakout setup here, and there wasn't really a really nice morning panic bounce play except for, I guess, DPLS, and PBY, my favorite, has not been doing good anymore. So yeah, I'm just going to call it off. I should probably just stop being so scared of trading. All the money I make and lose right now isn't going to change my life. I'm making and losing small amounts. I'm trading small size, so I should probably just focus on getting experience and just trying setups, not being afraid of, you know, my ego being crushed because the setup didn't go the way I want and I cut losses quickly or whatever. I just have to keep trying. I'll call it off from right here, but I think there was a lot of good lessons and I look forward to rewatching this.